Good evening and welcome down to weather down in Muletown. As always, this is the captain speaking. So, got a lot to get to. We'll hop right into it. Don't have any of this stuff loaded into the broadcast software, so we're just going to be doing a lot of screen sharing and stuff, pointing, talking, gesturing wildly, and explaining, and so on and so forth. So, it'll probably just be easier overall to do that. So, all the usuals out of the way first. Currently 65 degrees in Columbia. Light wind 2 miles an hour out of the north-northwest at the moment. Pressure 30.18 and steady. Dew point pretty low at the moment. Heat index 65. So pretty much nil there on the nose. Still kind of got the low humidities and things going on across the state, so definitely be careful if you are doing any kind of burning with it being windy and low like that. Not good juju. So let's hop right on over here. So all right, again, this is all stuff that you can go and see and find and look at yourself. These models are all just big old supercomputers that are based on different formulas. They get live data put into them, some of them hourly, just some of them, every 6, 12 hours, 24 hours, whatever, on a schedule. And then that model extrapolates out what it thinks is going to happen. That's the very, very, very long story, very, very, very short of how this works. So we'll go through just the basics real quick. One of my favorites here, HRRR, high resolution, updates hourly, good stuff, convection allowing. So we'll have a look at the next 48 hours. Pretty uneventful, maybe some stray showers throughout the day there. Looks like on Thursday, early morning, maybe throughout the day, but tapering off. And then other than that, pretty uneventful all the way on into Friday. That's the problem with shorter range models, is they're short range. They're usually pretty accurate, pretty good stuff, but it doesn't tell us everything that we need to know. So that's, again, same run, just composite reflectivity, different kind of product, but similar to what you just saw there. So again, not too much of anything on the horizon. Once we start to get into like the mid-range models and stuff, like the NAM, the North American model, you get about 84 hours out. So this was 84 hours out from 18 Zulu, so that was what, 1 p.m. our time, so it's getting ready for this one to run here again in a little while, and we'll check that out when it does. Yeah, it should be running now, actually, or very soon. So we'll keep checking on that. North American model, again, 84 hours gets us through that same time period and a little bit further into the weekend. May have some rains scattered around and about most all day, off and on Saturday. And then maybe some stronger storms throughout, like the end of the day. That's one of those things that we'll talk about here in a second when we look at the Euro model, but that's still a little bit up in the air as well too, as far as like what exactly the timing and everything on Saturday, because some things are speeding up, some things are slowing down, like we've been talking about throughout the day on the page. So timing is definitely still a moving target as far as all of that goes, and that's one of the big sticking points with the intensity and severity and severe risk that in turn follows all that, because the timing can be pretty important to all of that, just depending on whether you're talking about late at night, which is obviously still dangerous because of the fact that folks are sleeping, it's dark, can't see anything, versus being in like the peak daytime, heating, instability, Gulf moisture, wind, all that stuff. So it has a lot to do with it. And with it being the one of the bigger hangups, that's why it's kind of throwing the wrench in the whole thing. So I have to back out a little bit here for some of these things. So again, kind of for my geographically challenged folks, Middle Tennessee, Columbia, right there, Murray County, in the center. If you're having issues seeing, check your quality settings on your device, or go over swapping to YouTube. If you're on Facebook, you get a little bit better quality over there. So can't make it any bigger without me being able to not see what I need to see to do this, so apologies there. But again, Columbia, Murray County, just right there in the center of the screen. Again, North American model, not too much going on. Maybe some of that rain looking like off and on all day Saturday, but that's still yet to be determined. Possibly a stronger, heavier storm towards the end of the day overnight, Saturday night, and a Sunday morning as well, maybe. But the thing, as you see there, this cuts off 06 Zulu, so it's about 1 a.m. Sunday. So this is coming into view of the things we need, but not quite there yet. So the next one should get us, they're 6 hours apart, so that should get us at least starting into Sunday morning to see how that part of the day is going to turn out, and that may kind of start to give us some clues as about to what could go down the rest of the day and into the overnight hours. So swapping over to the GFS, so now going to Global Forecast System, I think is what that is, don't quote me on that, and have a look at it. So longer range model goes all the way at 384 hours, don't ask me how many days it is, but it's a lot. Look at typing right here, you can see all of the pressure lines. So going right on through, GFS has been a little bit back and forth, so actually, we'll tell you what, we'll start with today's runs just to kind of illustrate what I was talking about earlier with GFS and just kind of the difficulties with this sometimes. So GFS, again, if you're just joining us, this is going to be mostly nerdy stuff. If that ain't you, peace. We'll see you later. Catch us on the next one, but just going in and doing a lot of the explaining and breaking down scenarios and things like that here. If you got questions, throw them in the comments. Welcome to the stream, and hold on. So, again, looking at the GFS model, long range forecast model. This is the 00 Zulu, so first run of the day. Roll it through. Again, Friday, Saturday, maybe some rain here and there, but shouldn't amount too much. Keeping an eye on things just in case. Sunday here, that's coming into view, is the main concern. So, again, possibly some showers there off and on during the morning times. And then some type of possibly either a grouping of cells or a blob or maybe even some supercells or a line it's saying is going to come through. Okay, so that was roughly, so it's 06, that's 1 a.m. 11 p.m. Yep, so 11, 1, 4. So this one's showing it maybe being a little bit later. So that's what we were saying with GFS. It's slowing things down a little bit, or the Euro speeding up, whichever you want to look at. So looks like it may be a bit of both. That was the 00 Zulu run for the 126 hour. We'll keep it locked on this one hour, and that'll make it a little easier. So hour 126 there. So that's, again, 1 a.m. Sunday night, Monday morning, whatever you want to call that. So this is the next run up. So, again, similar picture, but let's say hour before, again, rain, maybe some clusters of storms there. But maybe some spots of intense activity, but overall, not as intense. Definitely not like a squall line or anything like that coming through QLCS for long. So 06 Zulu, so 12 Zulu run, so 6 hours later. Fresh conditions, all of those fun things. Maybe got a little bit of our speed back, so showing some storms here around 7 p.m. maybe. Yep. 8. Excuse me, 11. 1. So maybe a little back and forth, maybe earlier, maybe later. That's kind of the issue with the GFS. And then so the latest run, we'll go ahead and take you back through this one fluidly. Yep. So backed off a little bit even from there as far as the storms themselves go. So there comes Sunday. Again, maybe, so that 7p, 8p, 11p, 1a, 5a. So it's been real back and forth as far as the GFS. the Euro model that you've been hearing us referencing has been one of the more consistent ones. So I'm going to go through some of the like beginning runs of this kind of fast, so stick with me. And because we're just basically going to be comparing how similar they are. So this is kind of starting in the same fashion. We'll start with the 00 Zulu run, Euro model, same product, precipitation type rate with the pressure lines. So rolling through this Friday, Saturday. Saturday daytime, it's saying we may see some heavier areas of shower, maybe even a storm here and there across the area, and then possibly ongoing into. Oh, oops, move that way too fast. Sorry about that. I hate that feature. You hover over the time bar, it wants to do that. So, there we go. Moving into again 11p 1a. So maybe some of those continuing through like the second half of the day, Saturday. Heavier rainstorms. Again, this is not anything severe that we're expecting. Possibly down there to the south, because some of this is indicating maybe a little bit heavier. And then going into Sunday, again, maybe some light showers, light activity in the morning, but not really much of anything to write home about at all as far as that goes. But once we get into like late Sunday night, so this is 7p, so he has 00 Zulu Monday, we're GMT -5, so that would be 7p. See a couple of different concerning things here going on. So these are what we call the QLCS, quasi-linear convective system. Bow echo, squall line, bow, whatever you want to call them, that's what it is. So see it possibly a couple of different ones merging into one, or maybe coming as a couple of different waves as far as that goes, possibly devolving into some individual cells. We'll have to really kind of wait and see how this ends up going, because it looks like we're going to have a decent amount of instability, CAPE values, some things like that, daytime heating during the day on Sunday. So it just depends on how much of that is left over and when exactly, again, the timing of this all shakes out. Some of these storms, even though they're in the middle of these other ones, still could have ample access to that severe potential, and the preceding storms may have not taken enough punch out of the atmosphere to where we could have, it's again a model suggesting multiple waves of either like line segments, cluster cells, supercells, or both. So again, that's kind of that little bit of everything for everybody scenario that we were talking about with the Euro, probably clearing out between, what's that, 1 to daylight or a little bit after. So again, this has got it coming in a little bit sooner. So this is 7 p.m. 3-hour steps. So 10 p.m. 1 a.m. So some of them are 6-hour steps, excuse me. So just depending on that timing. And again, that's been the biggest hang up. So this is the 06 Zulu, same thing. So coming in to view here. Saturday, it's been kind of off and on again about those maybe some heavier bands here and there, but it's been trending to like them. We'll discuss that in the latest run that we'll get to here last. And again, Sunday coming into view. Maybe some light rain throughout the day, but nothing to write home about. Again, that several bowing sections, or may end up being one eventually long bowing section squall line coming through around midnight 1 a.m. So could be a couple of different. It's really messing with the timing, I think, on this, because it's usually these things move pretty fast, and the way this looks on just the modeling, if it ends up looking like this in real life, that's usually it's bowing because of the winds, and that's kind of an indication of what it's doing, and it gets that classic just physical approach to an object moving through air, like the end of a whip. And this end, usually down there at the very end, can be one of the worst ends and has that kind of whipping motion to it. So it's one of the things you have to watch with the Boeing line segments like that. So timing, again, is because it's not moving too awful much, and usually these things are moving rather quick in these. So that's one of the things, like we mentioned, that's got the models and the rest of us all messed up. So Next run up, so 12 Zulu, Friday, Saturday. The heavier cells that it's wanting to throw in there, as you see, like late Saturday night into early Sunday morning, are the ones that are showing up in those like recent couple of runs. So that's where started to change maybe the thinking there a little bit and say we may catch some heavier rain overnight Saturday night into Sunday, as well as overnight Sunday into Monday, but it doesn't look like it's near that same level. Just maybe some strong rain, but nothing it's looking like at the moment. Again, this can change, but just from this, it looks like still Sunday is the main concern, but we could see some areas of heavier rain or some heavier downpours as well too overnight Saturday. Coming into the day on Sunday, again showing a similar setup again. 7 p.m., 8, and then again 1 a.m. So timing is still a variable thing, but we're seeing similar like setups here. So we've got the different Boeing line segments that come in. You can have embedded circulations and those little, you'll hear us talk about like saw blades or Popeye arms and the edges of the line. Those can harbor little circulations and can usually produce weak spin up tornadoes, but every now and then we'll see with these stronger QLCS, when they've got some really deep wind shear to take advantage of, they can sometimes produce stronger tornadoes, although it's not very often. Again, the tornado threat, it seems like this presents itself more as like of a wind threat, although again you can't have those embedded circulations. But this again, unless we see a lot of discrete cells, supercells, it looks more like a wind thing to me as far as that goes. And we could get into some of the again the nerdy stuff here when we do our deeper dive as far as wind shears, storm relative helicity, some of the composite indices and things like that, because that gets complicated, and to use those you need to kind of get a grasp on them, understand how they work, yada yada yada. And I will literally go through and like read you all the definitions. And here's the problem, this is again kind of some of the things that we're talking about that we're not talking about. So this is next week and the week after and later on. So we're saying just April is an active period, May is an active period, March is an active period. It's our severe weather season. This is how it always happens. None of this is to alarm anybody or be sensationalist in any way, shape, form, or fashion. I know we've got a lot of new folks. Don't want y'all to get that impression from us at all, because that ain't us. Just kind of popping up, and I'm keeping an eye on the comment section just as we're talking and things. Ashley just asked, is our area looking terrible or tornado outbreak? ? Nope, don't think so. Not ready to break that down in all Hollywood Discovery Channel style for y'all, because again, that's not us. We're too far out for that. A lot of these folks that you seeing sharing those composite indices, like I explained on our post yesterday, that all is, it's a mishmash of a lot of things, and all of those things have to be fresh and reliable, and this far out it's just not. We can talk about like patterns as far as the models go and overall broad things, like, you know, this area of the country will have conducive conditions for severe weather if the storms cooperate and if the timing lines up, and there's a lot of moving parts with this. So again, I invite you to come try it. Yeah, so that 12Z model. So latest run, so 18Z. Move that down just a hair. And again, this is all scaled here at the bottom, trying to make sure y'all can see this, and again, kind of get what I need there as well too. So rolling. Again, maybe some heavier like downpours or storms. I'm trying to be cautious in using the storms in the same context as we've been talking about with the other things. Overnight Saturday into early Sunday. This is the latest run again, and it's been trending a little bit more towards maybe some heavier activity. So we'll be keeping an eye on this as well. But again, this is still all a while out. That's 1 a.m. Saturday night, Sunday morning. So Rolling on through, light rain throughout the day, pretty common theme so far. And then again, really seeing the tendency for some of these things to bow out. When you see that looking like a boomerang there, that's the model's way of saying it's trying to throw out some pretty high wind fields there. So we'll hop on to it. Well, let's look at it. We'll play it through and then we'll kind of go in and slice it up frame by frame. So there we go. Here it comes. That was the 1 a.m. So what was that? 00. Yeah, so 7 p.m., 10 p.m., 1 a.m., 4 a.m. Let's see. Yeah. And 7. So still kind of a little back and forth on the time frame, but it's trying to settle down a little bit around that midnight time frame. So GFS again saying it a little bit later. Euro model here has got it a little bit earlier and a little bit more vigorous. And that's why, again, we've been saying the timing is going to be important. So it's just going to depend on how much heating we have left over. Or it could come down to one of those, what I refer to as the Tennessee River events. You can have all kinds of severe weather at times between the Mississippi River and the Tennessee River over near Memphis and Jackson. And as whatever crosses the Tennessee River before it gets here, it just like dies. It can be like warned all the way up and down, tornado, severe thunderstorm, rotating, line, cell, whatever, and then cross over the Tennessee River right there on this side of Perry County, and then just flat die. And I've seen it happen more times than I can count, and I can't explain it. So, yeah, let's look at which hour was that again. So what did we decide? Was it 102? Yeah, 102. So we'll have a look at this 102 hour. Wind gusts right there in the 40s and 50s in some of the higher spots. So not too bad there at the ground. But again, that's just by itself. That's not including any severe related winds, storm related winds. Cape, not too bad. 1500. So again, right here in kind of like the lowish, almost not quite middle third area. Most unstable Cape, about the same. Bulk shear, surface to 500 millibar. Out here, it's again a lot better in the 60s, almost 70s, where this leading edge of the line is. So again, going to be windy. Let's pull this back up. Back to the precip. There we go. And actually get it to Columbia here and have a look at that. So forecast hour 108. There we go. So single slide. We can have a look at the lightning density. So looks like it may get kind of high there. It skips forward like 7 hours here. So some of these don't go hour by hour again, unfortunately. So some pretty heavy rates there on some of those. So as far as the lightning, with the humidity being really high like this, it can do it. Looks like we should have pretty ample dew point. I think it says, yeah, 63 dew points. So I think it's going to be like 67, 60, almost 70 degrees at midnight that night we're talking about with the storm. So you already know, deep south long timers, when you wake up and it's 70 degrees outside in the middle of the night, or warmer. I've seen it be way warmer or way weirder. You already know what's up. So I think we let's see. Yeah, precipitable water, pretty good up there near the higher end of the scale. Again, that's just water basically that's able to turn into storms and precipitate itself, as it mentions. Cloud cover, let's have a look at that, see how clear it's going to be. So Friday, Saturday, cloudy, maybe some breaks in there. just as the sun's going down? Maybe. Interesting. Okay. And again, to reiterate for the bazillionth time, for anybody just joining, these are all just models. Basically, I look at all of these obsessively as soon as they come out, run after run after run after run after run, and then I compare them, and then I run them again, and then I compare them again, and then I keep doing that until it gets here. And so that way, whenever y'all ask me all the questions and all the things, that's how I have some kind of semblance of something that looks like an answer for y'all. This is what I sit here and do. I just don't normally narrate it. So it would be weird, right, if I was sitting here by myself. That was Euro. Looked at GFS briefly. So that's the main two. Again, most of the rest of my other ones that I normally use are like 60-hour models, 48-hour models, maybe 80-hour models. And we're just not quite there yet. So I don't want to show y'all some of the AI stuff because it is the scary stuff that usually people try to throw at you to get you all riled up. As far as the normies go, and the people who don't realize that this is all still new and we're working out all of this and things like that, because I'm just going through and look at some of this on the other screen while I'm narrating. Let me change this, I guess, so you don't have to look at just that. It's not moving or doing anything. The AI stuff, again, like I said, some of it's been around a couple of years, some of it's been around a little bit less. It's still a new and unproven field. I've had some success at times with some of them with their accuracy, and I've had some that were less than stellar. So again, it's all of this is only as good as the data we put in it. And I mean we, I don't mean me, obviously. I mean NOAA, governments around the world, weather services and bureaus and things like that. With that data from all over the world, it's only as good as that. The machine learning AI stuff is only as good as the program that it's about. Can't talk. The program architecture that it's based on. That's it. You can teach it to get better and XYZ over time, but again, that all takes time. So, we can maybe look at one. Let's see. Again, yeah, and if y'all have got any questions, comments, concerns, spontaneous utterances, missions of guilt, so on and so forth, etc., definitely throw those in the comment section. I'm going to swing back around to those in just a second. And again, yeah, hello and welcome to everybody in the stream. Jamie, Marlise, Drew, how are you all? All right, cool. So pretty caught up on the comment section. Yeah, area is definitely not looking terrible. Definitely not ready to call it a tornado outbreak, as we were talking about just a second ago. So the way this is presenting, actually, it could go either way because there's enough possibility in the model spitting out some like mixed cell composition things to where it may be lines or blobs, clusters of cells. Some of those could be strong or could go supercellular. There could still be enough embedded circulation within lines sometimes, especially if it comes like some gnarly looking stuff like that. To have an embedded tornado threat, but again, usually, not always, because we saw some not long ago, I think in Florida, maybe, that were an embedded line segment and that actually produced some rather strong, like, tornadoes. I think one of them was an EF3, but don't quote me on that. Generally, the embedded line segment tornadoes are usually pretty brief, usually pretty weak. Sometimes they can even literally be down on the ground and back up again before the radar can come all the way back around. So that's where you all are important with getting us those pics, videos, all of that fun stuff, reports in, hail pictures, damage reports, all of that fun stuff that helps us out, because some of that stuff gets passed on to the National Weather Service and helps them out, which in turn helps everybody out, and then you get to feel good, warm and fuzzy. So There's one that we can look at real quick. It's just like a comparison, and it's a good like side by side comparison that we can talk about between like the SPC models, some of the AEI models, like side by side. Like this is what it's thinking, and this is what the SPC did. And some of those you can go in and look up. Like this is what we're thinking, this is what the SPC did, and this is what actually happened. So that part is kind of cool. Again, that's what we call learning verification. All right. Let me get the... All right, so let's swap back over to the screen share real quick, and we'll just real briefly talk about this one. So let me put this in full screen again, so I don't want any of this stuff blocking or whatever. So, this is just a comparison, and then again, this is National Weather Service site. This is a comparison. I can't remember what SIPS is. Colorado State University and the Storm Prediction Center model comparison. So, Storm Prediction Center here is on the end, not AI based, and then these two are both different, basically like AI or aggregate comparison, like historical models, like under the same conditions or similar conditions, this happened on blah date kind of thing. So that's what the aggregate AI and then the actual SPC. So again, this is looking at the last couple of days, and then we get to our most recent period that we've been talking about. So day 5, this is Sunday. And that experimental aggregate model thing, we're in the 15%. Again, not high, but not low either. Anything that's more than 3 days out from the Storm Prediction Center is significant because they're usually rather conservative with their language. So again, not the end of the world here, but again, it is significant just to have something that far out, usually anything above 3 days. So, and again, this is a probability matrix that's basically saying it's a 24-hour or so window of probability of severe conditions, so wind, hail, tornado, etc. Flooding, I think, is in there too. No, probably not flooding. Scratch that. Within 110 kilometers of a grid point centered at blah. So right there in the center is what that's saying. Similar, kind of like a mix between the two. The overall severe categorical forecast, just again based on rough probability, so 0, 5, 15, 30, 45. So this is the one that we were talking about earlier with not further denigrating the previously deceased equine animal. And showed you this. This was the, I think, the 00 Zulu. Yes, this was the 00Z, and showed you the 12 Zulu version of this, where this had migrated a little bit over. Don't have that on my hand at the second, but I can get that in just a second from the page. So, and again, this is what the SPC did. So SPC Day 5 Outlook, this is what the government chose, and it's similar to what this is, and also similar to the overall severe comparison here in the center. They usually don't go into this much detail as far as the SPC outlooks that far out, but when you look at these things, what I always tell folks is you don't want to be in the middle. You want to be like on the sides or the bottom, or, you know, kind of like right there on the skirt edge, but like right around wherever the number is, wherever just like the geographic center of this thing is. So like right there around like Memphis, this area, you don't want to be there, because that's usually this shrinks down or the avocado changes shape and color, and that's roughly what you're going to end up with, is that we're pretty sure area, and then these folks also could see some severe weather there in the yellow, and then folks out here in the brown just, you know, need to kind of pay attention and be ready for some strong storms, you know, kind of thing. So as the closer you get into that, again, into the angry avocado, the that's what it's doing there as far as the risk goes on the heat map. So that's what's happening. That's a good example of what's we're talking about when we're saying like machine learning process and then AI and then what's actually going down. So 1, 2, 3: machine learning, AI, actual SPC, NOAA weather, or some NOAA NWS graphics. So that is that. So that's the majority of the stuff I've got. Again, the rest of it is just too far out to say with any kind of certainty enough. And I know you all want to know, like, hey, I've got to leave here and travel this far at a speed of 55 miles an hour. And if the train is red, what time does your sandwich pop out of the toaster kind of questions. And I can't help with those folks. We can only, like I said, tell you the possibilities of what may happen. Like, this is what we're looking at that day. But as far as like your safety and safety of your family, your friends, loved ones, so on and so forth, etc., we all just have to stay as informed as we can, do the best we can. So those are always personal decisions, folks. Can't really help out with those much as I wish I could control the weather. No, I don't want that on me either. Take that back, scratch that. Much as we wish we could tell you for sure, like see some future stuff and tell you what the weather was going to do, even as bad as that would be, still can't do that. So again, it's significant enough to see that 15% this far out from the SBC, but it's not the end of the world either. Like we were saying, this is not the doom and gloom time. We're not to that point. Definitely ignore all of the folks that are trying to sell you all of that doom and gloom stuff, because we just don't know that much yet. So timing is still up in the air. We're getting a little bit better consistency from the models as to the where. So we still think it's going to be kind of like a ride around in our area, maybe more West Tennessee, maybe more Middle Tennessee, maybe more towards Clarksville, maybe more towards state line, Alabama, Mississippi, Tennessee area. Still kind of working around in there, but we're getting it more narrowed down as far as the where. I think it seems the only real big deal still outstanding is going to be the timing and how all of those three things relate back into the overall severe picture, with the ingredients being available, with the storms being available, with either the heating or the leftover heating being still available, with the wind shear and all of those things. But yeah, definitely not like a threat like we had on the 14th, actually. Yeah, not like that. So that was one of those bad days. Knew that was going to be a bad day for a while, and it was looking like it was going to be a bad day for a while. And this isn't that. Like I said earlier, I think this one qualifies bumpy, maybe even pretty bumpy, just depending on how much wind we're talking about. If we end up with some massive like bows looking like that, could be a pretty windy day. Silver lining, like we talked about, that usually cuts down overall on the tornado threat, although there still could be some rather gnarly embedded circulations in the line. So we'll just have to play that part by ear. But again, to sum all that craziness up that we just went through, I generally try to look at the average of all of those things, and I've just tried to, again, just watch all the runs and shoot for the middle as far as that goes. The timing is still going to be the biggest issue. For the most part, it's still looking like second half of the day, more probably likely than not after dark, and into the early morning hours of Monday. So Sunday, Monday is going to be that biggest area of concern. Could be some heavier storms Saturday night as well, but not as concerned about those. Just keeping an eye, because that's been more of a recent development in the model trends. But overall, still looking like a decent chance for some strong to severe storms. It's the best I can put it right now, just again with that limited information. And that's why we're watching. That's why we're putting out the updates. That's why I'm giving you Bobby's nuggets throughout the day, because again, Bobby is the guy. So can we touch on April yet? So La Nina, and so warming and cooling. So the El Nino Southern Oscillation El Nino, La Nina periods are periods of either warming or cooling over in the Pacific Ocean, and that, believe it or not, halfway around the world can affect our weather here. Generally, when we have that ocean surface cooling, we can expect like it to have a little bit more of a calming or predictable effect on the weather. That is looking like, still not just a foregone conclusion yet, but it is looking like our La Nina cooling over in the eastern Pacific, like off the coast of Baja California, Central America, getting on into, but not too far up into like the west coast of the United States, is where a lot of, if we were going to get weather from that direction, that's where a lot of the influence comes from, like the sea surface temperatures from, and it gets scooped up by the stuff coming down from Canada or across the Rockies. Heads this way, gets some speed up along the plains, or usually that's where we have historically a lot of the tornado outbreaks. Tornado Alley, quote unquote, starts is out west, Oklahoma, Nebraska, all the flyover states, corn states, whatever you want to call them. And then that heads this way, and sometimes if we get one of those really deep plunging troughs that's coming like straight down from Canada or up north, and then kind of curve sharply back up before it gets to our mountains here, the Appalachians, Smoky Mountains, whatever you want to call them, it can have an opportunity to suck up some of that really rich, warm, moist, full of storm fuely Gulf moisture, and that's where we get a lot of our storms, and that's why we generally have that type of weather system play out in the spring here. Long term, again, it's kind of hard to say. A lot of what we just watch is for patterns, but with those things, with the Gulf of America warming, with the La Nina cooling stopping, or coming to an end or starting to end, whichever, that can kind of insert back in that area of unpredictability with the weather patterns overall, and possibly it's again, this is all, you're talking about halfway across the planet, and this is all incredibly kind of hard to connect all the dots and tie together just in the field of climatology that hasn't gotten all the way kooky. I'm gonna try to keep myself out of trouble there with everybody. But there's a lot to connect just with dots. Sea surface temperatures, the jet streams, the overall patterns, again, whether you're warming, cooling, those systems coming down from Canada across the Rockies, picking up moisture from the Gulf, all play into the big picture. And that's been one of the things we've talking about with just looking at some of like the longer term graphics and outlooks from the Climate Prediction Center, as far as like precip and temp. That's about the only thing you can be so sure of, like that far out, is basically like, we think it's going to be either like this warm or this cold, or above or below average temp, or excuse me, above or below average precip. And that's basically what those things are that we show you, that has like the lighter blue or the warmer reds, or the lighter darker greens for the above average, below average rainfall temp. That's what we're showing you there. Part of that all, again, circles back into round to having those things available possibly, and then having those warm Gulf moisture temps coming in, and then there's those existing systems that we can get from the plains as well, all contribute to the active periods that we normally see in the spring. And again, we try to look at all these things and extrapolate all that out and try to see if we can anticipate any active periods coming up. And again, it's just a fact of life here, living in Middle Tennessee and the South as a whole. We have active severe weather springs. It's just part of it. But there are certain variables that can be at play, or factors that can enhance that, and the El Nino, La Nina years are one of those things for sure. I'm gonna have to dig it out because I've got it in some of our stuff, because I'll go in and do a little thing every now and then on El Nino, La Nina, just because I think it's cool. The 97, 98 storm year, tornado year, whatever you want to call it, was an El Nino, La Nina year, and that was the year that caused me to get into all this. That's the year I got bit by the bug, was in 98. So, if that goes to show you anything, if you remember 98, or again, just if you look any of that stuff up, with those, I think that was a good, it was kind of, I say good, they were active hurricane years, those years as well too, I think. But again, all this is interconnected. This pale blue dot that we inhabit is alive, very much, folks, beneath our feet, above our heads. So it's always doing things. Nature is large and in charge, and it does us good to remember that every now and then. So. But yeah, I think it is very possible, to circle back around through my rant, it is very possible that we could see an active spring. So April and May is usually our peak tornado season, mostly April. It just depends on how warm it's getting in May, because once it gets too hot, it actually kind of messes up the severe weather ingredients. So it can be detrimental to it. So great question, Krissa. Hope I said that right. Yeah. And... we'll definitely be watching it, but I think it could be another bumpy spring for sure. You are very welcome, Ashley. Just doing what we can to help out, again, because we live here too. We love Muletown, because Muletown is home for us as well. Shelby says, Cap, there's going to be campers already coming in on Sunday. Yep, that's what I was thinking. Usually they come on in pretty early, even before the train arrives, and again, we're keeping an eye on things, but there may be some more bumpy weather next week as well too. So they definitely need to be staying prepared for Sunday night for sure, and throughout the rest of that week, because it never fails. Like we were talking about, we think that should be one of the severe parameters. Is it Mule Day? Because it seems like every year, year after year, never fails, we have at least one warned storm at some point that week. The Severe Weather Awareness Day that we went to has been held on that same weekend before, and I've had to like rush back from Trevecca, or I think it's always been at Trevecca. It may have been somewhere else that first couple of years, but I've had to rush back from SWAD before to get back towards like Columbia for not only like the Mule Day stuff, but to like chase storms, because we had stuff like already on the way coming out of Lewis County or Lawrence County or something. So it's just that time of year, folks. It is part of it, and Mule Day unfortunately is right in the middle of it. Yep, and like Dwayne pointed out, Central Hospital is usually part of the emergency planning process. For Mule Day, they do a great job between the Murray County Office of Emergency Management, Murray County SO, Fire, EMS, Columbia Fire, THP, all of the alphabet police are in town on Mule Day, folks. Can assure you. You don't see them, that's the point, but believe me, everybody from the regular county, city, state police, all the way up to the federal alphabet police, FBI, ATF, they're all here. Promise you. So don't worry. They are all very, very, very good at their jobs. So we have some of the best first responders and folks like that in the area. Boppy, the folks, Mrs. C, all of us worked with them for many years, or been them, or some kind of combination of the two for the majority of our lives. So all very, very good, very talented, very capable people, and they do a great job year after year of taking care of all of our guests and visitors to Murray County, Columbia area for Mule Day. So continually a hats off to them. So yeah, Tony wants to know, the inevitable question. So wedding plan for April 26th is a good chance of being stormed on. More than likely, I would say statistically, yeah, it does. More so, say, than September 26th. But either can happen. I was telling the story of my daughter's first birthday party earlier in the comment section. I said it was going great. It's the first weekend of May 2019. It was going great right up until the point that it started raining tree limbs and the power went out. So myself and one of her uncles, who shall not be named, were outside pulling the Lieutenant Diane, and just yelling at the storm and generally being not impressed. Right about the time that we caught a tree limb necklace right around both of our necks, so that was fun. But then had to go take care of a family member in the middle of all that with the power outage that was on oxygen. So that was not cool at all. I'll never forget that one. But yeah, it's one of those things that can turn quickly on you this time of year. And if you have any kind of outside event, definitely keep an eye on the forecast. Have some kind of lightning app on your phone, if absolutely nothing else. So other than that, folks, that's all I got. Make sure y'all stay up to date on all this. We'll keep you updated as always. But definitely make sure if you have fam in the area or around kind of that big geographical area that we've been talking about, make sure to let them know, stay weather aware as well. If you got the trips or the outings or whatever planned with the fam, just make sure everybody knows their bit as far as the severe weather plan goes. If you get separated, where you meet up at, all of that fun jazz. Be safe, be good to each other. That's all I got. So, Semper Paratus, Semper Adest, always there, always ready, whether down in Muletown. We'll see you later.